Hi, it's Kerry from Mobilates. I'm ready for 30 minutes of really nice, gentle movement. Get all the blood going, get the air going, get everything going. Ease the aches and pains, and we can do this in all the positions. Standing, seated, from a couch or a bed, lying down on the couch or the bed, staying seated. I try and cover it all in these sessions. I hope you're doing well. I'm looking out for the chat, so let me know how things are. If you're a little bit cold at the moment, it's making things a bit stiff, if it's affecting your circulation, because often these seasonal changes, I feel it in, so I have a little bit of arthritis in my hands and feet. I can feel it a little bit there. So let's start, let's get ourselves going. First, we're going to start with 3 breaths where it's like a sniff and a sniff, like you're sniffing a flower, and then like a sigh, like you do when you sat down on a really comfy chair. So we go. And again. And again. And then we're going to wake everything up from the feet upwards. So seated or standing on the edge of your bed, whatever position, give your feet a little rub on the floor. Now, if you've got socks on, like I've got socks on, makes your socks start to rub off. So just a little rub. You're trying to get a bit of sensation, warming up the soles of the feet. You could also rub one foot over the other is another option. Maybe a little tamp or stamp, just to bring a little blood in. And then move your legs about. A little wiggle, kick away. Just a little, you're just a little wriggly person. You just can't sit still. You can't stand still. So just getting into the legs, getting into the pelvis and the hips. And then a bit of the belly, just moving around. And one way to do this is just like you're wriggling inside your top. And you're just trying to touch your skin against all the different bits of the top. That's along the sleeves and the shoulders. And then just moving our arms a little forwards and backwards. And then our shoulders, a little wriggle. It's not even a shoulder full roll. It's just a little wriggle of the head and the neck. And now we're ready to start. We're going to start with pelvic tilts. So if you're seated, 2 feet facing forwards, about 2 fists between your legs, and your legs are like an L shape. You can rest your hands at the end of your knees, or you could hold your belly. Today I'm going to hold my belly and my back. Breathe in so you feel a little bit of expansion around your rib cage. And as you breathe out, hug your belly back, and you'll feel your waistband rocks back. Getting that little tilt. In standing, I'll come to the side. Hello, by the way, to Jean and Irene. I'm having your comments just sent through to me, so I know you're there. So nice to have you here. And I'm just going to show you the other ways. You can see I sort of hug my belly in, and you can see my bum drops down. But a little reminder, if you're a bit of a sort of bum gripper, and if you are, it can be often be more this sort of shape a lot. And the bum is sort of coming in a bit tight. Just remind your bottom that it can let go, give it a little wiggle. The power to move in comes with the belly just pulling back towards us with an exhale. That's it. And then a little wriggle at the side. And grow tall. As tall as you can, that's it. And you can give the back of your head a little tap. Take your head and face back. Just like you're slightly surprised, and start to turn your head. And then come back to the center. And then we're going to tilt. Now, if it feels like your face isn't facing forwards anymore, it's sort of doing a little walk to the side, you can place your fingers underneath your chin. So it's like a little pivot point. And then drop your ear downwards. And we're not trying to touch the ear towards the shoulders, it's just the direction it's going. So think of it like a seesaw. That's it. Who else is coming in today? Jackie's with us too. Oh, lovely. Hi, Jackie. Nice to have you here. I feel my gang are here. And I know there's more of you out there, but you just don't comment. You just like to lurk silently, and that's fine. I do a lot of lurking silently too. And then let's go into the shoulders, giving them a little bit of a roll forwards and backwards and seeing how they're feeling. I'm not even doing a full circle, just a little up and over. And then if it feels okay, you could do a full circle. You could do one side and then the other. I'm a little sore on this side, so I'm keeping mine a little smaller and tighter today. And then placing our hands round about the shoulders. And we're taking the elbows together and then apart. Together to touch, or as close as they'll go, and then out to the sides. And then you can feel this collarbone area and across the chest opening. I'll show you from the side. Brilliant. And then a little bit for the feet. So you might want to rub them again, give them that little, like you're cleaning them on a mat. That's it. Now, you might want to hold on to something here. Feet are facing forwards because we're going to do a little bit of up and down. I'm going to go into a heel raise, just a little one. And your body's going straight upwards. Now, if you're standing, it's a long line of straight upwards. If you're seated, you're in this seated position. So you're not supposed to put your hands for this if you're seated because the chair's helping you balance. Is hands on your chest. But what's your knees? Are they trying to come inwards? Can you hold them with the same gap between them? That's it. Just wakes the core up a little. And then take the feet down. We're going to move the arms up and down a few times and then open them out. I'm just trying not to knock the plant. Always a challenge when I get into the chair, not to knock things over. So a little up and out. And we're going out to a T shape-ish. So it might be like a complete T, it might be a little softer, it might be lower down, a little more forwards, but this is the direction that we're going in. That's it. And then we're going to combine the heel raise and the arm movements. So arms can be down or hands against your chest if you're seated. Take your heels up, arms out if they need a bit of extra balance. And then when the heels go down, arms forwards and open and close and down. Heel raise, forwards, open and down. Standing. And you could also be just holding on to something. Last one. Well done. Right, now we're going to take it into something a bit swishier. So that same forwards and backwards motion. And this time it's like you're scooping upwards and your chest is going up a little. Just like a little lean back. Now we can take this into a little bit more motion. You can see my bum just going backwards into a bit of a hip hinge if you was doing this seated. Now you can go outside your legs, or you can take your legs wider and go inside your legs if that feels more stable on the chair. But this little lean back, and then the straight back comes forwards. You can even press on the insides of your legs, but also this option. And I'm just pushing my feet downwards for this one. And one more. And then start to circle the point of the elbow back and let the waist turn with it. That's it. And one more. And take your legs wider. Let your feet go outwards just a little bit. We're going to send the bum back, put the hands on the thighs. So that is the standing position version, and the seated position looks remarkably similar. Take one hand away and bring it back. The other hand away and bring it back, and then sit yourself up and have a little wiggle. Stand yourself up and have a little wiggle. Same again. Hinge, so your hips and bum go back if you're standing. You're coming forwards if you're seated. Back is not arched like this. I'm going to pull back a little into my belly to get a really nice flat back. So now you can't tell because my baggy top is here, but my belly is pulling back so that I'm not doing this. See the difference with my bum now? I'm just pulling back a little. Right, now, got this position and I'm going to hold it here. Take an arm forwards, the other arm forwards. If it's going well, maybe both arms forwards. And then I'm going to push down into my heels and stand up. Well done. One more time. This time I'm going a little lower. You can see I'm just working my legs a little wider. So I've got that position. I'm going to pull back into my belly and straighten my back. I'm going to reach out to you, give you a little wave. I'm going to reach up the other side, a little wave. I'm going to take both hands forwards and wiggle my fingers. Bring them back, push into the heels, come upwards. Very nice. Let's take it. Wide legs and swishy. So swishing your arms around you. If you're seated, just the same. You could also do a little thigh slide if you're seated. If you're standing, you might take the arms a little wider around you now. So there's fly out. Your legs and your feet are moving. We're just getting some rotation into the spine. And then we're going to do a little bit of bow and arrow. So just letting yourself unwind again. I'm going to stand to the side, legs are forwards. If you're sitting on the chair, come forwards on your chair so you've got some room behind you for an elbow to go back. Both arms forwards. We're going to pull the elbow back. Now you've got a choice here. What happens at the hips? If you've got osteoporosis or osteopenia and you don't want to be wringing your spine with the rotation, you want to let your hips move with you. So you can now see my t-shirt come towards you. If you haven't and you're happier having more of a twist, I like more of a twist. I keep my hips pointing forwards and I'm just going to let my elbow come back. So the rotation's happening here at the waist. I'm going to do a couple like that. So either keeping the hips pointing forwards or letting that rotation happen. So if there's something like pulling your back and it doesn't like it, let this rotation at the hips happen as well. And take it down, have a little shake out. I'm going to do the seated version next, but I'm going to do it sitting this way to show the same options for seated. So arms are forwards and we can take the elbow back. Now it could be you just go for a smaller rotation and so you don't get that real twisting or pulling. And so just take the elbow a little bit back. That's one option. You could keep everything forward, keep the hips exactly where they are and go further, and that's much more of a twist. But you could also just move your leg out to the side a little. See this leg sneaking outwards. So my hips now coming out a little. And that just gives me a bit more space. So I'm getting that feel of rotation, but I'm not getting that sort of wringing out, twisty sensation that if I had osteoporosis or osteopenia, you don't want for your spine. It's too much, but you want to keep some rotation. You want to be able to turn to the side. There are things that we need to do and we have to turn to the side and grab something or get out of a car or something. That's it. And last one. Well done. Right, let's do a little balance before we go into the second half. So I want you to take one foot closer to the other foot, seated or standing, and then turn one leg out. So you're showing me the inside of the knee and the seam. This other leg is staying still. You could even go onto the tip of your toes. So it all starts to feel a little wobbly. It looks like this if you're seated. It could look like this if you're standing. There. Grow tall. And now a little softness in your arms. Maybe if you're seated, you can move your upper body. If you're standing, that's a bit more challenging because you're balancing on your feet. And then take it down, let the legs have a little flop or a little kick out. And the same on the other side. So bring the feet quite close. And then you're turning one leg outwards. See, you can see the side of my foot now. My knee goes out to the side. I'm sliding that foot closer, so I'm right on the toes. Or even you could go on the tip of your toes, or even press against the foot. Depends on what works for you. Same in standing. I'm going to do this one in standing. So I like to go about here. I'm just pressing against my calf, turning my knee out to the side, and my hips are facing you. Arms outwards, and just a little softness in the arms. You may even be able to get a little bit of upper body movement as well. It helps to look at something, maybe something fixed, something that's on the wall or above your screen. Maybe give a little smile, take your mind off it, take it down, give your legs a little shake out. And then we're going to take it down towards the floor. So down towards floor, bed, or staying seated. We can do this in all the positions. So I'm going to move my chair across, I think. I'll have it over here. I'm going to move the camera just so we can see the mat a bit more. There we go. Have a little drink. You might want a cushion underneath your head. I'm going to go for a cushion. If you're sitting on your chair, I'd like you to sit at the front of your chair because we're going to do some leg movements in a moment. But first, we're going to all start with some pelvic tilts. So I'm going to do my pelvic tilts lying down, seated in the chair just like before with your L-shaped legs. Lying down with your sort of triangle legs. It's L-shaped really, it's just with the feet down. All these positions, they sort of relate to each other. You might have your hands on your belly, lying down or seated. I'd like you to breathe in and expand your ribs outwards, like someone's just put an umbrella up inside your rib cage. And as you breathe out, and I'm doing all my breath through my nose, just feeling your belly gathering together first before we tilt. Another one like that. And this time we're going to do our pelvic tilt. So it's pubic bone towards nose, feeling that rolling against the ground. Or if you're seated, feeling your belly scoot back towards you and your waistband go towards the back of the chair. And then rolling forwards as you breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And then let everything settle. Have a little wiggle. Arms down by your sides or by the sides of the chair, just holding onto the chair or resting in your lap. We're going to take a breath in just the same in that rib cage place. A little bit of tension on the belly. And as you breathe out, slide a leg away. As you breathe in, slide it back. So you're just sliding your feet forwards. So if you're doing this seated, sliding forwards, sliding back. And we're trying not to rock side to side. We're trying to be super still. Heavy bottom always helps on the chair. Just think heavy bottom. One more time with those slides. I like my hands here because I can just feel it's steady. Now this next one's going to be different. This next one, breathe in. And as we breathe out, if you're lying down, your leg's going to go to a tabletop, this sort of L shape in the air. If you're seated, I'd like you just to raise your heels so you're up on your tiptoes on one foot. And then take that down. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bring that up. Hold it there. Breathe in and take it down. Now we're going to have both legs either up on a tabletop, or if you're seated, you're sort of up on your toes. If you're seated, it helps to bring your legs so they're touching each other. If you're lying down, they can be a little further apart, so they've got a little gap. So we're going to bring one leg up and then the other, and we're just going to hold it there. And then we take the arms. Now, if you're lying down, they're going to be up towards the ceiling. And if you're seated, they're going to be out in front of you. And just hold them there. That's it. Now we're trying not to do that and come off the floor, not to do that and round the back and lift the bum, just to be steady. If it's too much, put one foot down. And then take them both down, have a wriggle. Same again, I'm going to demo the seated version this time. On the edge of my chair, so I'm going to bring my legs together, one heel up, the other heel up. I'm going to take both my arms forwards and just hold it. Press your legs together at the same time if you're seated. Press your feet together. Try and breathe. And then take your feet down. Take your arms down and have a little wiggle. I'm going to take it down to the floor again. So for seated, you're going to be doing some pelvic tilts, but could you do them with your legs squeezed together? For lying down, you can see I've just thrown with abandon my cushion away, but if you just move your cushion above your head is fine, because we're going to start going into a bridge. Arms down by your sides. Start with a pelvic tilt, so we're all doing the same. Feel your belly drop down, feel your back pressing downwards, and then rolling away. And once you've got that action, if you are lying down, I want you to press into your feet and just start to lift your hips up and then roll them down. On the next one, we're going to go a little higher. And you might go even higher. I'm going to bring my feet closer. And then I'm looking for a diagonal from my knee down to my shoulder. Feet are pointing forwards, knees are pointing forwards and away, and then rolling down. If you're seated, you're going for your pelvic tilts, but your legs are close together and squeezing towards each other. One more like that, one more pelvic tilt, one more bridge. And then we're going to go up again. So pelvic tilt and hold it. And then undo and take your arms forwards or to the ceiling if you're lying down. And then your arms back down to your lap or the mat, roll down. And then we're going to let our knees, seated and lying down, open out and in, out and in. Same again. One or two pelvic tilts if you're seated, or a bridge if you're lying down. That's it. So lifting the pelvis up, checking in with your head and shoulders that they feel comfortable, no extra pressure. You can take an arm up or even back. That's it. You can even leave them here for a longer stretch as you lower down. Just gives you a longer stretch to the spine. And then when you've got everything down, arms down, then let the legs have that open and close, open and close. And then we're going to take it to a star stretch. So if you're on your chair, keep to the edge and open your legs out and have your feet down on the ground. Your legs might not be straight. And lying down, wide legs, wide arms, and just a little stretch outwards, just making a star shape. You can give your head a little turn from one way to the other. Wiggle the feet, circle your ankles. You can even give your fingers a little wriggle. And then bring everything in. Now, if you're seated, I want to stay back on your chair with your legs bent and a little gap, 2 fists between your knees, your feet slightly apart. If you're lying down, I want you to roll onto your side. You might want a cushion to support your head, and I'll show the two sort of, once I get this movement going, I'll move between the two places to show you the options. So once you're lying on your side, you want your soles of your feet, the back of your bum here, your pelvis, or your sacrum really, your spine, your shoulders, back of your head in line. This arm doesn't need to be in line, it needs to be comfortable for your head. So for me today, a cushion and my arm like that, sometimes I have it sort of bent like that. Today it needs that. Right, these legs pressing together, bottom leg pressing down into the floor, but first hand on your hips and push that hip down a little. It feels like the waist goes, oh, hello, and wakes up here and lifts up a little. We're going to lift this top leg up and then straighten it, bend it and bring it down. And a few of those. So that's the lying down version. Keep going, maybe 3 or 4 more. If you are seated, I'd like you to take one leg out to the side, slide it away, slide it back, and bring it back. I'm quite near the edge of my chair because otherwise the back of the leg just starts crashing into the foot. And if you watch my foot, I slide forwards and my toes come back towards me. It extends the leg a little. That's it. Remember, if you're seated, which side you've just done, because we're going to work one side first. Next, we're going to do something for the arms. So now in the same position that you're in, we're going to do a little arm opening. So if you're seated, pick the same side arm to move as leg. So on that side, I was just doing my left side. I'm doing my left side lying down here. I'm going to keep the legs together and take my hand up to the ceiling and then take it down. It's about a 90 degrees, like a 1/4 on a clock opening. And then I'm going to start to make it a bit bigger. I'm going to start to make it like 20 minutes or 20 minutes too. Now, if this starts feeling too much for your shoulder, you can go into more of an arrow, bow and arrow type of movement when you pull back like that, like you're pulling on a bow. But otherwise, you can open out. And the legs can open out a little with you. They are not fixed together. And a couple more like that lying on that side. And just missing my cushion there. And if I'm doing this seated, if I show you this way, I was opening out. That's about 20 minutes and then a few minutes more. Or just sliding back. And then give your legs a rub if you're lying on the floor. Give your shoulders a little bit of a shimmy. You're going to roll onto your other side if you're lying down. If you're seated, you're now working the other leg. So for seated, you're going to take your leg away, slide it away and bring your toes towards you. Slide back, step back. If you're lying down, I'm swapping to the other side. First, do that little hip adjustment when we send the hips down just to wake the waist area up. That's it, just got a little bump in my mat there. Press the bottom leg down into the surface you're lying on. We're going to lift the leg and then straighten, bend and place down. Lift, straighten like you're pressing down on a pedal. Lift, and then it's like you're pressing a pedal or a button. That's it. And one more. Lovely. And now we're going to go for the arm opening. So taking this other arm forwards. You can even do a little slide forwards and backwards. It's a nice way to sort of warm up the shoulders. And then the first one, go to the ceiling and just see how that feels. I can see the problem I'm going to have here. I'm going to crash into the chair. And the next one, oh no, I'm just missing the chair. That's sort of 20 minutes, 2 or 4 over the hour. And then you can start to open the legs up and roll back a little. If that feels comfortable. If your legs feel comfortable staying close together as you do this twist, you can do this as well, but you don't have to keep them like that. The option is there. That's it. Last one. And then if you're lying down, I want you to go back onto your back and take your legs wide. If you're seated, I want you to come to the front of your chair and your legs wide in exactly the same position, feet down on the floor. Hold on to the chair sides or the chair seat. And if you're lying down, let your arms flop out to the sides a little. And then we're going to let our legs sway in and out. That's it. Now you could take your time, take it really slowly, or you could do it as a very soft and let them just flow from one side to the other, always moving. I quite like just having a little moment where I just pause and just hold it. Just breathe. And then taking it back to the center, and that pause and letting them find their place. If I'm doing this seated, I tend to keep it moving more. So if I bring my chair back to the center, let them move. I even lean back sometimes, that's quite nice. Moving. But you can hold it. I might even look the other way. Come back to the center, other way, and hold it. And then come back to the center and bring yourself to seated, whether you're seated on the floor or your bed, seated in your chair, some sort of seated position, and so that your spine is upright. We'll give the shoulders a little roll. We'll give the neck a little soft semicircle. Maybe a little shrug. And a meltdown. That's not a meltdown, but a melting down. And then take your palms out to the side. Scoop up the air. Bring your hands together and into your chest. Thank yourself for just taking this time, this 30 minutes or less if you join me after the beginning. It's all good. This time just to move, listen and move with your body rather than fight against it. Have a lovely week. I shall see you in a week's time, same place. I look forward to it. Bye-bye.